Oh, I think it's gonna be an ugly day out today, that's for sure. So for the past week I didn't come in the garage. I've been sick ever since I got back from camping. But since I was sick and hacking up a lung and living off Tylenol cold flu, I savagely threw together this sluice. Made out of fucking spare parts, spare metal in the garage. Didn't really use any measurements, just wung it, threw it together quickly because no point putting in a lot of time for something that it's not going to generate a lot of money. I didn't even do a video on it, it's too damn sick. But before we can continue on the Jeep, I'm going to clean all this crap up. Tomcats, I can't believe you want to go outside. It's ugly out, it's raining. And you want to go outside. You're so silly. He'll last like 5 minutes and then he'll want to go in. That being said, cleaned up a little bit, got the table organized, some things that I picked up to work on the project. Got transmission bushing, bought a little 1/4 inch torque wrench. Now I have a whole collection at home. Cute little thing, look how tiny that is. 3/16 brake line, because we need to splice this line here and replace it because I nicked it when I was doing the motor mounts. What else do we got here? New knock sensor harness. These are the adapter to from power steering to AN or JIC. Some swivel 90s I might need. I got 2 of those fitting. This is a hose I got made up today. It's a hydraulic hose, number 6 fittings. It may be still too long. I really want to get a length of hose, and then with the piece that you can just cut the hose to length and then thread in by hand, but they didn't have that set up. And this is the transmission dipstick, and this came in too. This is the Artec TR8801 truss kit for the 8.8 rear end that I got. So this will keep us busy for at least a weekend. Let's get started on this. All right, let's pull this pressure line off. You need an 18 wrench. These fittings look bigger than the one that came out of the power steering pump. All right, let's get this hose out of there. Of course, there's still some oil in there. All right, let's measure this. We're gonna be 0.694, which is roughly about 18 millimeters, where these are 16. At least I can get the back threaded in. All right, well, good thing the fenders are off still. Be a little easier to put this in, do the old reach around here. Let's thread this fitting into place. All right, I'll attach that hose. Before we do that, we'll give people some OCD here. 11/16 shorty. Should be the one. Yes, sir. Now let's do an old reach around here and get this hose on. See if it likes it. Now I'm gonna feed this hose underneath. I'm trying to fish my hand up behind there. Come on. Get on there. So now I got the hose fed. Oh, I'm probably gonna have to feed it alongside power steering here because I don't want it to get too close to the main pulley there, but I think it'll work out. So since it's going to be a couple days before the part comes in, the 18 mil to 6 AN, one of the things you got to look at, especially when you're doing a custom build, especially when it comes to running lines, is are they going to interfere? So I was a little concerned at first running the power steering line this way because it was pretty close to the pulley down there, but that's the least of my issues because I'd originally flipped it up to the other side here, and I was gonna run it upside along the frame here. Couple issues down there. There's a lot of points to rub on. But I also have to look at is that the control arm is right there too. So depending on how much flex you got on the trail, it may become an issue with the power steering line. And since it's a solid fit, if you can see in there, you know, if you jarred it, there's a good possibility you could do some damage. So I think once I get all the parts, I'm probably gonna come off this way. And it's probably gonna come up something similar to kind of like that, and then, you know, flex down. But I might have to make a bracket coming off here a little bit, and then with a little hose clamp or something, kind of hold it in place. That way I won't have to worry. I got the knock sensor harness, but I'm gonna go to Rock Auto and get new knock sensors, because no sense going all this way and taking the chances, and you know, you don't know how long those knock sensors will last. And I really don't want to be tearing apart the intake just to get this thing going, so I'm going to get those. Should be here next week as well. Let's change out the dipstick. I'm not going to lie, this cold I caught is really kicking my ass. Bunch of coworkers and all my friends got it like well over a month and some ago, and I never got sick, and I'm like, man, I missed it. And everybody talked about it's the worst cold they've ever had. Man, it's not that fun, I can tell you that much right now. Took 2 Tylenol cold and flu pills earlier, but starting to wear off now. I can feel the effects coming back to me. And it's nice though too. No one likes having a cold this time of year. Come on, get the fuck out of there. Over. All right. Let's put some assembly lube on this dipstick. Hopefully it fits. I'll be a little upset if it doesn't. Come on. Where's the hole? Where is the hole? Right there. Get the fuck in there. Shine a light on that subject. That's gotta go in quite a ways yet. If I get on it like a wrench on there and push it, that might help get her in. This is why it's much easier. Oh, there we go. Fuck yeah. That worked awesome. Got her right in. Works way easier. Put the fenders off. Now let's have a look at this little baby right here. So just measure in inch pounds to do foot pounds, inch pounds. How the fuck does this one work? Oh, well, let's try this thing out. What's the worst that's gonna happen here? Yeah, torque there. Perfect. Here's a pro tip in case you don't want to wreck your torque wrench. After every time you use it, remember to back it off. And the plug to set it just fell out. I have to keep an eye on that. There we go. What's this piece of paper say? Didn't even come with a calibration. You know you're taking your chances when. I might end up having to do a body lift on this too, because there might be some issues with hood clearance. So that's gonna fold down, but you got that cross member there. It might hit my cover. It wouldn't hurt to do like a 1.5 inch body lift or something, 2 inch or something, 3-inch lift. That way you keep the center of gravity lower. I think that looks pretty good. Now, have you guys ever cleaned out this flap from this piece here that kind of hangs down in the middle there? You'd be surprised how much crap builds up in this thing. One thing, if I don't put this thing back on now, it'll probably never go back on. I love this Milwaukee ratchet. Oh shit. Just don't pull the trigger when you're trying to change the direction. I definitely need to shave my head pretty soon, that's for sure. I don't know if my face is still red from last weekend or what, but I did something today when I was out grocery shopping that I don't normally do. When I left the grocery store, there was a man outside, probably mid-20s or so, I guess, and he had a sign that he was recently homeless and he's begging for money. And generally I don't really give money to these types of people, but I felt that this guy was sincere and that he was desperate, because, you know, you don't really too often see like a grown man like broken down in tears and crying. You know, it must have been something painful for him to beg for money. And it's been a tough go here. Alberta, in the last 5 years, it's been really tough for people to find work. And if you do find work, odds are you're not hired on full time. You are a contract worker, so you work a little bit here and then you got to go find another job. I was lucky. I've been laid off twice in the last 5 years. Well, actually, no, probably 3 times. Yeah, because I was laid off from the company I was originally at, and I was off work for a year. Couldn't find any work at all in that time period. And then they called me back where I worked for just over a year. And then they had the thing with the forced overtime hours, which I didn't take part of, so they let me go like 5 days before Christmas. And then a company that I used to work for, the owners, they hired me on at the new company they started, and I've been there ever since, full time. But a lot of people that we're hiring now, of course, it's just contract workers. But anyways, getting totally off topic here. So I felt really bad just because of the situation in this province that, you know, just it must have hurt his pride something pretty good to see him crying there. So I felt bad for him, so I gave him some money, and I kind of put a smile on his face. But hope that guy, if I ever see him again, he pulls through and manages, you know, to find some work or, you know, get his life back on track. It's tough, man. Like, it's not been good here for sure. But anyways, let's get back to work. Just getting things set up to do the brake line repair. And if you're ever doing a double flare for brake line, get a real good flare tool. Like this kit, you know, has a tool, but I find this die is not very good. The tools themselves are good, like the little pieces here to make the double flare, but go out, spend your money, get a good flaring tool. This is a rigid, and this is a little cutter right here, man. It's ratcheting. Unfortunately, it's snap-on, so it's probably like $100 now. But what I want to say is the biggest tip when you're doing a flare is make sure that it's tight, because when you're doing the double flare, if it slips, if the tubing slips while you're flaring it, you're going to get a flare that comes out sort of like this, which is no good. Now, if it's tight, there's your good double flare right there. That's what you want. But let's drain the oil out of the master cylinder, start bleeding it from the brake caliper. We have to drain it all anyways because we're doing 8.8 swap in it, so I'm gonna have to build all new brake lines for that. As I showed you earlier, I already got the truss kit. Haven't decided on a locker yet. I'll make a video about that and you guys can help me decide. Just gonna spray some penetrant oil on there to help free it up. Fuck me, really? That moment you go to dump the oil into the catch can and it overshoots, goes all over the fucking floor. Fuck me. Let's throw some dirty old cum rags on the floor to help soak her up. Brake fluid is nasty shit. You get this on paint and kiss your paint job goodbye. Spray some Al Brake Cleano. Fucking light her up now. Not sure what's going on here, but that clip's almost ready to come out, but I should spray that as well. Use some WD rust release penetrant. Gonna use this fancy cutter. So, just looking at our tube, looks like we got almost 90. Alright. We got lots of tube here, so biggest thing with this tube bender is that it's actually too big for this style of tube, so we're gonna do the best that we can where that zero could be. So I'm gonna try doing a little bend like that. Okay, so that's in there like that. I need to put a bend somewhere right around here, straight down. Make that little bend, slide that back into place. I just need to tweak this a little bit right in place out there, a little bit more. Don't be afraid to tweak it a little bit with your hands too. It's pretty malleable. All right. Well, that sucks. Bent that tube, but then too shy. Just shortly too short. Frig. Well, that's all tubed up. Gonna mask it off with some of that tape and then spray it with some rust paint. I think that'll be the best option. Domcats, what are you doing sleeping? You don't look like you're very comfortable there. I know. What are you doing? You want some belly rubs? Do you want some belly rubs? And do you? I don't know how Tomcat does it. He killed his 4th mouse today in his cage. This year. 4th mouse. Fuck, boys. I don't know what to tell you. This is like week 3 with this nasty cold. So I got the fitting I needed. Amazon 2-day delivery. So let's install this. This is the 18 mil to 6 AN. Just thread this on loosely. I'm just gonna test fit the grill, because knowing my luck, it won't clear. Oh, look at that. We're in the money zone there. We're clear. surprisingly enough, there's still quite a bit of room in the front there. Lots of room, even after you get the radiator back in. Could hide lots of stuff in there for sure. Alright, we're done with this nonsense. I think it's time to end this video and grab motherfucking beer time and shut this down. Alright, motherfucking beer time. I'm not gonna waste a good beer. If I start hacking halfway through this, god damn it, I don't know what the fuck it is. A couple other people at work got the cold same time I did. It's going on week number fucking 3 now. And it's the worst fucking cold ever. And it's fucking almost June, for fuck's sakes. Have I said enough fucks yet? Anyways, motherfucking beer time, everybody. We're gonna start reassembling the front end now. Get the fenders on. Convert them to the tube fenders. Start doing the wiring. Start plumbing all that shit in. It'll probably be 3 or 4 weeks till I get some parts that I really need. This is the kind of like the big hassle. Some parts come in that I don't need, like that axle truss, and then some parts that I really need haven't come in, but I don't want to get a whole bunch of projects started because my garage is pretty small and I really have to work around in timeline, like work around in a circle to, you know, as I put stuff back on, I'll create some more space in the garage and make things a whole lot better. But anyways, motherfucking beer time. Ugh. If you guys have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, I want to thank you for watching.